Good morning and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for Monday, June 17th, 2019.
Commissioner Garcia, Cabello, and Caloza are present. Vice President Cabello, you do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Lighting.
Janet Kwan, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Fernando Gonzalez, Los Angeles Sanitation and Environment.
Brett McReynolds, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Maria Martin, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Al Bazi, Streets LA.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. Vice President Cabello, just for the record, Commissioner Davis has joined the meeting and will be part of the quorum. We do not have any speaker cards under general public comment. We also have no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. No speaker cards received for any of the items for today's agenda as well.
Hearing no speaker cards on general public comment, let's go ahead and close public comment. Let's also close the Neighborhood Council commentary as well. That takes us to our first item of business, approval of the minutes for the meeting of Wednesday, May 8th, 2019. Excuse me. Is there a second to my motion to approve both the meeting minutes? Seconded by Commissioners Garcia and Davis. Without objections, those minutes are approved. This takes us to our first item on the agenda. Item 1, consultant name change for pre-qualified on-call architectural consultant services. Recommending the board authorize the city engineer to instruct the controller's office to update their payment records to reflect the consultant name change from Frank R. Webb Architects, Inc. to SLAM Collaborative, Inc. Seeing as there's no public comment at this time, let's have Mr. Drucker come on up.
Good morning, Commissioners. Neil Drucker, Bureau of Engineering. Item number 1, as Commissioner Cabello indicated, was a request from the Bureau of Engineering to accept a request for a name change from Frank R. Webb Architects to the SLAM Cooperative, Inc. We've had conversations with both Mr. Webb's company and SLAM, and they've committed in writing that they will keep on the same staff who are currently working on our projects throughout the course of this contract, and Bureau of Engineering recommends approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, any questions? Seeing none, is there a second to my motion to adopt item 1 forthwith? Seconded by Commissioner Davis. Without objection, that item is approved and sent forthwith. Item number 2, consultant name change for pre-qualified on-call landscape architectural consultant services. Recommending the board authorize the city engineer to instruct the city controller's office to update their payment records to reflect the consultant name change from Calvin R. Abe and Associates, Inc., doing business as AHBE Landscape Architects, Inc., to Moore Iacofano Goldsman, Inc., doing business as MIG and AHBE/MIG, the latter DBA for the Los Angeles location. Mr. Drucker.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Neil Drucker again, Bureau of Engineering, and this is a similar request to the first request for a name change from Calvin R. Abe and Associates to Abe MIG Associates. And again, to let you know, Abe MIG has committed to using the same staff that are currently working on our projects for any continuing projects as well as any new projects awarded under this contract, and therefore Bureau of Engineering recommends approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis moves. Any questions before we do a motion, colleagues? Seeing none, Commissioner Davis moves. Is there a second to Commissioner Davis's motion? Seconded by Commissioner Garcia. Without objection, item 2 will be adopted forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Drucker. Item number 3, in Council Districts 11 and 15, cost-sharing agreement between the Los Angeles Gateway Region Integrated Regional Water Management Joint Powers Authority and Los Angeles Sanitation and Environment for the installation of monitoring equipment and monitoring pursuant to the Harbor Toxic Pollutants Total Maximum Daily Load. Recommending the board approve and forward this report with transmittals to the mayor, requesting approval of the agreement between LA Sanitation and Environment and the Los Angeles Gateway Region Integrated Regional Water Management Joint Powers Authority for the cost sharing of the installation of monitoring equipment and monitoring pursuant to the Harbor Toxic Pollutants Total Maximum Daily Loads and 2012 Los Angeles County Municipal Separate Storm sewer system permit, MS4 permit, say that 5 times fast, and request the mayor to authorize sanitation director and general manager and the president or 2 members of the Board of Public Works to execute the agreement. And we have with us Mr. Yu.
Good morning. I'm Charlie Yu from Sanitation. This is a cost-sharing agreement required by the MS4 permit, and the city will share the monitoring costs with other 37 cities and LA County. The total cost for the 5-year period about $54,000. And this cost sharing will reduce city's cost to just do the monitoring by city itself. And we would like board to approve that request.
Thank you, Mr. Yu. Commissioner Davis.
What is our portion of the total fee? The total fee is $54,000?
$54,000 for the 5-year period.
And
Each
what is,
year
did you
about
say we had a proportion for the city? There were several other stakeholders, right?
yes, there are
And-
total 37 cities.
Oh, I see. Okay. And our portion to that is?
The total cost for the 5 years is $132,000.
Okay.
And the city is
7.
54.
It's not divided equally, is it?
No, it's based on the area and the public.
Proportionally,
Yeah,
of which obviously we are
Yes.
the biggest proportion.
you are correct.
And then our portion results in $54,000.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Colleagues, any further questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt item number 3 forthwith? Moved by Commissioner Davis. Is there a second to Commissioner Davis's motion? Seconded by Commissioner Caloza. Without objection, that item is adopted and sent forthwith. Item number 4, Memorandum of Agreement between LA Sanitation and Environment and Las Virgenes Municipal Water District regarding multi-agency collaboration on runoff diversions and integrated water management. Recommending the board approve and forward this report with the transmittals to the mayor for authority to execute the proposed Memorandum of Agreement between LA Sanitation and Environment and Las Virgenes Municipal Water District for cost sharing, a study on runoff diversion and integrated water management. And upon the mayor's authorization, the president or 2 commissioners of the Board of Public Works and the general manager of sanitation will execute the MOA. We have with us Dr. Cox.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Huub Cox. I'm a senior engineer with the Watershed Protection Program, LA Sanitation and Environment. This item is an agreement between LA Sanitation and the Las Virgenes Municipal Water District to fund a county-wide study to evaluate the diversion of stormwater and dry weather runoff from the storm drain system to the sewer system. The reason for conducting this study is that sewage flows in our region has gone down over the recent years because of the drought and because of water conservation. So as a result, our sewer system, as well as our reclamation plants, now have the capacity to take in additional flows from other sources of water, such as urban runoff and stormwater. So the goal of this study is to determine how much of that stormwater and how much of that urban runoff can be diverted into the sewer system, where can it actually be done, and also what are some of the other constraints and opportunities to do so. If successful, this study will provide 2 important benefits to the city. First, potentially we could bring more water to our water reclamation plants, and they can produce more recycled water, which is good to reduce our reliance on imported water. Then the second benefit is by diverting stormwater and urban runoff, we have a chance to improve the water quality in our receiving waters, and that is beneficial for our water quality compliance. Las Virgenes Municipal Water District is the lead agency for this study. They have hired a consultant to do the work on behalf of the group, and the total cost is $694,000. The MWD, the Municipal Water, the Metropolitan Water District, will provide a grant to the project of about $350,000, And the remaining cost is to be cost shared by the regional partners in this project. LA Sanitation share is going to be $56,000, and in return, we're going to be the co-chair of the two project committees. The study will last about 1 year, and the agreement has been approved by the City Attorney Office. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cox, for a very good and thorough report. Commissioner Garcia.
Thank you, Vice President Cabello. I agree. Very nice report and very thorough. I just have a question. Do we have examples of other cities that are doing this type of work that we're going to study?
Yes, I think more and more cities in our region are looking into the concept of diverting stormwater and urban runoff into the sewer system. It's not only the city, also the County of Los Angeles are looking into it. And I think because of our MS4 permit and the obligations that we have in order to meet water quality, I think also a lot of the smaller cities in our region are looking into diverting into the sewer system, if feasible.
Got it. Is somebody else already doing that outside of maybe the state?
I'm not sure about outside of the state, but within our region, we have several examples where we are already doing it.
Okay.
The best example is actually our low-flow diversions along Santa Monica Bay shoreline. The City of LA currently has already 8 low-flow diversions that divert dry weather runoff away from the beach into the sewer system going to Hyperion. And as a result of that, the water quality during the summer at the bay has much improved, and the bay grades, they went up significantly.
True. Thank you for that explanation.
Absolutely.
Colleagues, any further questions? Seeing none, is there a second to my motion to adopt item 4 forthwith? Seconded by Commissioners Garcia and Davis. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item number 5 is an oral report, status of construction of public buildings and open space program from the Bureau of Engineering. Ms. Weintraub, very good to see you today.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'd like to start my presentation, if I could, briefly introduce 3 fairly new employees from the Bureau of Engineering who are with us today. All have been with us about a year. We have Kayla Trong, who's with our Wastewater Construction Engineering Division. Raise your hand or stand up. Sylvia Dimdis with our Street and Stormwater Division, and Lauren Rhodes with our Environmental Management Group. So it gives me great pleasure to have them here. They came just to see the board and be introduced to the board.
Welcome, ladies, and may I just say it's wonderful to see nothing but women representing the Bureau of Engineering.
I agree. But with that, I love...
And Mr. Drucker, always a pleasure to have you here. I
love the
apologize.
men- I
And I
love
think
the men-
Commissioner Garcia just wants to make a comment as well.
I just want to say, adding to Commissioner Cabello's, but also the diversity.
Yes.
It's very nice to see that too. So congratulations, ladies.
So, I am going to, in the past when I come twice a year to talk to you about public buildings and open space programs, I often talk about specific projects that I think that it would be good for the board to be aware of. This time I'm going to try to give you kind of an overview, a snapshot of where we stand right now. So I'm going to talk to you about the leadership of the program, examples of projects under my program, projects in the broader bureau that I'm involved with or people in public buildings and open space are involved with, some of the funding sources we use, which can be quite challenging given the diversity, the cobbling together of funding sources, one example of a project and the funding that is going into that project, and then just some of the agencies and institutions that we report to. So this is not an org chart. This represents people that I work with on a daily basis. And so there are approximately 181 positions in public buildings and open space. That fluxes over time. There's an additional approximately 20 positions that are in other divisions that don't report directly to me but support our program. And that represents more or less about 22% of the Bureau of Engineering at this point. So under me, Mahmoud Karimzadeh, who's a deputy city engineer working on the LA Street Civic Building, reports up through me for that single very large and very important project. Neil Drucker is an interim division head for the architectural division. Shirley Lau, who I know was here last week, is the great leader of the Bridge program. Alan Kawaguchi, his division is Homeless Facilities and Special Projects, and there's a range of projects in his division, including completion of animal and police and fire bond projects, and also he's the leader with our effort to provide bridge housing as part of the homeless program. Jose Fuentes is our great leader of our construction management division. Reza Barghazadi works for Mahmoud on the LA Street Civic Building. The clearest example of current activity, you see Parker Center, the demolition of Parker Center is part of that effort. Carol Armstrong, I work with her and her direct reports, Michael Affelt, on river issues almost daily. So she technically is on my staff, though I technically report to her, so it's an interesting relationship, which is fine. Katie Doherty is not part of Public Buildings and Open Spaces, but works with me on the Taylor Yard G2 project, a very large river project. And Cyril Charles, who works in Alan's division, is working with me. I wanted to mention the Convention Center because we're supporting the Convention Center in the public-private partnership and negotiating agreement that's going on this year with AEG. He also is the lead for the Silver Lake Reservoir Complex Master Plan, and we have our first public meeting later this week for that project. And then Richard Louie does not report directly to me, but he has been working. He took over the streetcar project when a prior employee retired, and Gary Lamb is working on the 6th Street Viaduct on the park or open space project. So again, this is not an org chart, but kind of an indication of everything that I'm working on. And the dollar value of public buildings and open space projects, the dollar value of the staff in public buildings is about 13% of the Bureau overall. So these are some examples of projects that are directly under my responsibility. The first on the top left is a navigation center. This is a permanent homeless facility in Council District 8, and it includes a place for folks to store their belongings. It includes shower facilities and clothes washing facilities, as well as offices for counselors, and it is in construction right now. On the right, you see the convention center as it currently exists. We've been working very closely with the convention center and the Chief Legislative Analyst's office on the proposed expansion. I can't show you that image yet because it's yet to be made public. On the bottom left, we recently completed the LODOT maintenance yard, and I highlight this because it reflects our ongoing and long-term commitment to sustainability initiatives.
Ms. Weintraub, may I ask, where is that located, the maintenance yard?
The maintenance yard is right next to the freeway, and across the freeway is the Metropolitan Water District and
Yes.
Union Station. Excellent. So it's just to the south of the freeway. So one of the major features are the solar photovoltaics that were installed on the roof of the entire building. And the building itself would qualify as a net zero energy compliant structure. And we're doing a number of net zero energy projects right now. The whole complex is not net zero energy because we don't have enough photovoltaics to charge all the buses, but we have installed electric vehicle charging stations for all the buses and also for quite a few of the vehicles for the staff who in the parking structure. In addition, the compressed natural gas fueling is using recycled natural gas. We're capturing and reusing the bus washing water, and we designed the facility all with drought-tolerant planting. And then on the right, we just broke ground the other day with the mayor along the river at Taylor Yard. Actually, this is mislabeled. I apologize. Now I notice this. This is the Taylor Yard pedestrian and bicycle project, not the North Atwater. I think I was excited about North Atwater because Shirley sent me over the weekend images of the mast for that bridge, which is upstream going in, and that was very exciting to me. So the Bureau currently has 540 active projects totaling about $4.1 billion. And under public buildings and open space, there's about 200 active projects. And then, as I mentioned, I'm involved with other projects in the Bureau that are being led by staff who are technically not in my program. On the top right, the Taylor Yard G2 is a 42-acre site that the city purchased, and we're about a year and a half into pre-design on that project. You see just to the right of that one of the 3 potential schemes we presented to the public about a month ago. And on the far right are some massing studies that were done for the new LA Street Civic Building to look at ways that we could, in massing the building, create usable floor spaces for the anticipated staff, and also try to activate the public realm to make a 24-hour public realm. And that project we recently received proposals on, 5 proposals from P3 partnerships who will design, build, finance, and operate the building for 30 years. So we're reviewing those 5 proposals, and that's very exciting. Bottom left is an image from the 6th Street Viaduct Park in CD14. We're completing working drawings on this. The construction on the park will start when the bridge is done. And the next image to the right is also, the park actually spans the river. It's a 12-acre park in total. There's about 7 acres on the east side and the balance on the west side in the Arts District. And then on the far right is a diagram that we worked on with DWP. We were asked by DWP to help lead this effort to do a master plan for the reuse of the Silver Lake Reservoir complex because it's no longer needed as a drinking water reservoir. So, as I mentioned, the funding sources for our program are many and varied. And this has its own challenge. So I just listed some of them that we work with. And I'm not going to read through them. You have them in front of you. But each one of them comes with their own definition of how the money can be used, when it has to be spent, what kind of activity it can be spent on. So I applaud my staff in their efforts to maintain compliance with all the requirements, and that requires massive spreadsheets and cash flow charts. And to demonstrate that, I've just brought you one project which is in construction, which is the Rancho Cienega Sports Complex Phase 1. And I've listed on the right the various funding sources. This is a very significant project. It's in construction. It is about 32% complete. It's 24 acres, and it's a really important open space in this community. And Phase 1 construction is basically the building which shows blue photovoltaics on the roof, which is the gym, and the building to the right of it, which is a new indoor pool, and then everything within the red line we're also redoing. So we're redoing the front parking lot as well. All of these different Prop K funding sources come with restrictions on what components of the facility they can be used on, and they come with time constraints. And Neil, who's worked on Prop K for many years, will attest to the challenge that this represents. But in addition, we have money from the CIEP, or the Construction Capital Improvement Program, and Sites and Facilities I mentioned, which is a fund that Rec and Parks controls. This is a Rec and Parks facility, and they're our very close partner in putting this together, putting the funding together. And then we have Municipal Improvement Corporation of LA funding as well. So there are 11 different Prop K funding sources and all of the restrictions that come with it, such as the fact that one Prop K funding source can only be used for a fitness annex, and it can't be used for the rest of the facility. The MICLA is more flexible, so we have funded the use of the MICLA funding, and then some of these also have, as I mentioned, timelines. And then I just wanted to show you, because really all of this effort is towards completing projects, and it's always exciting to me since I don't get out into the field enough. I wish I got out more. I asked my staff to send me construction photos so I can vicariously appreciate the effort. And on the top left, you see the pool being dug. And then you see, I forget how many piles there are, but there are extensive piles that are being driven into the ground because the soil required pile foundation. So you see the other 2 photos which indicate, which show you the piles being driven. And there is a Phase 2 that will come later as part of this project. We also have joint use agreements with Dorsey High School, which use the stadium at this park, and even some other schools in the neighborhood that use the park. And except for the area that's under construction, the rest of the park has been kept in use, and that was very important to the council district, that we not close down the whole park to do these new facilities. So these are some of the people that we regularly report to. And again, I'm not going to read you the list, but just to say that each of these different organizations have different interests and require different types of reporting. Some are approvals, some are simply just comments. We take our responsibilities for each of these very seriously. It requires a lot of evening hours for staff in order to meet with the community. I take the community's input very seriously, enjoy the process. It's not always friendly. It's sometimes quite critical, but that's important to hear as well. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Weintraub, for that wonderful report. Colleagues, any questions?
Comments.
Commissioner Davis.
Just want to basically thank the Bureau of Engineering for the work that they do, specifically our public buildings. And as you've given your report, it reflects just how critically important the work you do is, and that we, through public buildings, serve the entire community. And I think when you have stakeholders that you report to and communicate with, each of, or most of whom who have been written in your report, it really says to us that the service that you provide is really the core value of what we do in public work. So I just wanted to not have any questions, but to just let you know how much the work that you do is so significant and how much is appreciated by the board.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Any other questions? Okay, we will note and file this report. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Campos, has that cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
We are adjourned. Thank you.